Welcome back to Switch to Linux. Well, today I want to have a look at CachyOS on the latest release, and there's a lot of things I wanted to look at with this one. And primarily, first they said they've streamlined the installation, and this is also the first time I want to look at the Plasma Login Manager, as they've been working on this to replace SDDM for the Login Manager, and I wanted to have a look at what that looks like. So, hey, we get a chance to see the new Cachy and have a look at the new Login Manager. And we're going to do this on virtualization rather than installing it on our standalone hardware, just for the sake of simplicity here. Now, if you are unfamiliar with CachyOS, this is one that's been recommended by a number of people that are looking at using Arch. And, you know, if I didn't have a really good working Endeavor OS system, I'd probably just go ahead and use this myself. But as long as my current Arch system works, I'm just going to keep using it. But CachyOS does have a lot of really nice tools, making it a very useful distribution, particularly if you're new to Linux or just want a way to run Arch without having a lot of overhead. And so this one here is also going to have the latest Plasma with Wayland instead of X. And the ISO now has a stable kernel along with an LTS kernel. We'll see if that's an option we can choose from on install. And there's a few other adjustments and changes in there. Ultimately, looking at the features, they moved the bootloader section to Calamaris. Management is now consolidated into a single package, so that's good. Architecture detection is now performed before the base system to reduce the download size. Grub now uses Lux 2 for encryption, and pass needed to Pacman to avoid installing packages twice. Okay. Let's see. There's other options in there as well. So let's go ahead and have a look at what this guy looks like. And we have a system here set up in boxes. We just put the CachyOS OS in there. I upped the memory to 6 gig and the storage limit to 30, and pray for the best now. Let's see if this works. So here we have our default. We have a fallback. We have a boot existing OS. We do a hardware information, memory test, reboot, or power off. We're just going to go ahead and run with the first menu option there. All right, so here we've landed here, and it is not giving us our optimal desktop resolution right off the bat here. So let's just go ahead into our display settings and go ahead and fix that guy if I can find display settings. And here we are. Now we are back over here. So when we get into here, we have the README information, support, project, and we have our launch the installer. So we'll go ahead and launch the installer and see how this system works. All right, so here's our installer. So we want to start with our language, then pick our location. And it looks like that actually did finally fix the clock. The clock was not exactly right when we started. There you go. There's your keyboard layout. Looks good. And then here we have Limine and we have Grub. I've never actually used Limine before. Let's run with it. Why not? So here we're going to do the option to erase the disk, or we can do manual partitioning. And then here it's going to default to Btrfs, and we have a number of different options we have there as well. We can choose to encrypt the system as well. We'd give it the passphrases if we want to do that. I'm going to not encrypt the system here, and we'll stick with the default. And now we want to start with whatever our desktop is. We can do no desktop, and then we just have, in this case here, just one of the largest options for desktop choices. This is what makes this such a good system. We're going to stick with the default Plasma there and hit next, and now we want to choose which packages we want. This is one of the reasons why CachyOS is so good, because we can choose what we want. So here's the base packages. So these are all the things that we want to install. These are all the things that Cachy does that makes it distinct. And then here's various desktop environments. And then we can look at various packages here. So here's Firefox and language packages. And here's printing support if you want to use printers. Here's support for HP printers and scanners. Ew. I have an vendetta against HP if you didn't know that. And then we have over here, here's Orca, mouse tweaks, eSpeak NG, which I'm not as familiar with, but they're accessibility tools. So there's that. All right. As far as other packages, you're going to have to wait until you get it installed for other things there. Hit next, and we're going to go with our user setup here. Enter my super secret password. It's definitely not 123 or 1234. Password's too short. Oh, it does not want me to use a short password. Okay, so let's just do that. Okay, I don't like the fact that it tells me I can't use a short password. Come on, it's my computer, it's my choice. Of course, you can always change that in the terminal, make it whatever you want, and that really is the power of Linux. It's just some of these installers don't let you choose something that they configure not to be good. It's good for a new user at a production system. It's bad for someone like me who spins up distros all the time just to play around with them. So there's what it takes to install it, and we're going to go ahead and come back when this is done installing, and then we will see what it looks like. All right, so that finished. That took a little over an hour and a half. Just be aware, a lot of that's just because of I have slow internet here. It does need to download about 3 gigs of packages. So we're going to go ahead and finish, and we will restart. Hit the done button, not the finish thing that looks like a button. All right. All right, so we're going to go ahead and boot into the system here. And when we get in here, we should have our new installer here. So we can choose here between the CachyOS and the this is just your regular Linux kernel, and this is the LTS kernel. So you'll notice that this one's kind of the kernel latest 6.18, and the LTS is the 6.12. So you can choose which one of those you want. There's also a snapshot option, which is something you get with the ButterFS file system. We'll just go ahead and choose our main one here, and then we are going to have to go in and fix the screen resolution once we get in there. So the new login manager here, this is forked from SDDM, and this is the Plasma login manager, so it does look effectively the same. Now, it does look like on the system, and I couldn't find a solid answer, but if you want X, you might have to take some extra steps on the installation. I couldn't find a clear answer one way or the other, but the latest ISO, the one we've downloaded here that was just released, has Wayland as the default on the ISO image. And it looks as though it probably didn't install any of the X code. Now, it does still have the capability of doing that if you want to, but I was not able to get it figured out, and like I didn't spend time trying to figure it out. It's just I was researching, did they drop X entirely? And it doesn't look like they have, but I think you might have to take some extra steps on the installation in order to get that running. So let's go ahead and get logged in here. I can tell here that we don't have the option for X because somewhere on this screen, I think it's up here somewhere, it should give us that that ability to choose our display manager, and I don't have that ability. So let's go ahead and get logged in, and then we'll fix our screen resolution. And then we'll kind of talk a little bit more about some of these new features. Okay, it looks like it did save my screen resolution. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go into settings, and we're going to turn off that crazy mouse pointer thing because it drives me crazy. Shake cursor. There it is. That thing is so annoying. Why is it still on? I need to hit apply. Oh, I wish they would not turn that crap on default, but nearly every thing does on Plasma. It's like, kind of annoying. Anyway, once you get over here onto your Plasma, really I want to have a look at that Plasma login manager. I did want to answer that question about X, which I just spent a little bit of time looking at the forum, looking at things, and I couldn't get an answer one way or the other about enabling it, although it would be usually installing X and then doing that would give that option automatically on the login screen. Now the other thing is you can change the login screen. So let's go ahead and go back to our settings, and let me go ahead and walk you through that. That was one of the things that they have now is you can go into your login screen settings, and when you go over here, you can configure the appearance, and you can choose a number of images, or of course choose your own. So you can pick whatever images you happen to like the most. and that will be your image. And you, of course, you have to verify yourself to do that. You can show or hide the clock. And the other thing that you can do over here is if you make any changes like changing your scroll lock, number locks, things like that, you can actually apply the settings, and this will apply the next time you turn it on. So you see it'll change the color schemes, theme and cursor, basically all the various settings over there. And so that really is one of those options that we have. Now, the great thing about CachyOS, if you are new to it, and the reason it is becoming a big popular among the Arch users, well, the Arch users that want to easily manage your system, this apps and tweaks really covers everything you might need to do. Removing old orphan packages, re-ranking your mirrors, resetting your key rings. These are all common Arch issues. Clearing the package cache. Remove a DB lock. If you've ever had to interrupt a Pac-Man install and you get that DB is locked, yeah, that just removes the lock. Nice and easy, nice and simple. Change your DNS. You can show your debug windows. You can also toggle on and off things like your Bluetooth and things like that. So let's go ahead and do that. So you can toggle those on or off. Here's your Cachy update enabled. I believe this does the notifier in the tray. It will give you, let's go ahead and turn that on. Let's see what that does. I believe what that's going to do is it's going to give us a system tray which notifies of updates. Sure, 4 megabytes. Why not? We've already downloaded like a grand total of 3 gigs to get this virtual machine done that I'll probably nuke inside of a couple days. But anyway, doing that will allow you to run your updates, but it should allow you to have a system tray down there as well. So that is nice there. There it is. And there it is right there. So you can see that button down there. Let's see what happens if we can run it. We can check for updates or we can exit it, but that will allow that to show up on the system tray. And then we also have our package installer and our kernel manager. So you see that we have these two options. If we were to add another option in here, then that would be available on that. Is it Limine? Whatever the new bootloader is that replaced Grub. So if you install any of these, they will also appear on that list. And that's really one of the good things is that we have a number of different options inside of the kernel manager. Really easy to manage the kernels in this. And then, of course, the package installer is very nice. We have our common ones. No matter what you want to install, if you know what you're looking for, you can just type it in. There's VLC, there's OBS, and Evolution. And, of course, apparently Bluefish Editor is not popular, so it doesn't show up in the popular apps. But it does show up if I go into the whole repository. So that's how you can search for different things. Of course, you can also browse. So you can pull down, let's see, graphics, and you can see a bunch of things. There's a font editor, which can display, generate font. Ooh, that's neat. I might have to play with that. That sounds fun. There's Blender, Darktable. If you're into photography, Darktable might be one you want to look into. Works with raw images from your professional cameras. There's GIMP, Inkscape, just a number of different stuff in here as well. So you can browse for anything in there. Really nice package manager they have in this as well. And outside of that, it basically is Arch. It's not like Manjaro that holds back packages and has its own effective repository. It is using Arch with a couple of extra options to give you those extra tools inside of Cachy. So this is a really good system if you are looking for a way to get into Arch and you want to have minimal headaches. This is certainly a way to do it. And with this new system here, you are getting by default a Wayland only system. Be aware of that. That might greatly please many out there, and that might frustrate many people out there. For one, I am not ready to drop X. I think that this giant Wayland only push is, in my opinion, setting Linux back, as there are a number of functions that people like myself use daily that simply don't work in Wayland. For example, I mean, behind the scenes, just to give you a little reason, behind the scenes, I'm recording this on Simple Screen Recorder. This application simply will not run under Wayland. And I have not found a compatible screen recorder that will even come close to remotely working. The one that's closest is, I think, Blue Recorder, which is not even maintained anymore. But at least it's the only one I found that works, although it takes about 20 minutes after you click the turn off button, and then it'll sit there and keep on popping up that wonderful GNOME, closed application or wait 30 to 50 times before the thing actually finally saves. OBS, I tried multiple ways. I could not get OBS working on Fedora. I'm in a way still working on it. I got it allegedly working, but the file still crashes frequently, and I don't know why. And it's only occasionally, so it's basically not functional. But those are some of those issues. There are many functions that Wayland does not do that some of us still need. And I don't like the idea of dropping it entirely. But for some people that don't have those requirements, this might be a way for you, because the advantage of having this and dropping all of the X code is it did make this download much smaller than downloads for Linux distributions have been. And I've noticed that in this, I've noticed that in Fedora, I've noticed that in Ubuntu, that as they're starting to drop X in the ISOs, we are seeing a lot smaller download sizes again, which is good. That is indeed a benefit. So there's some positives and some negatives. And of course, if you do need X on CachyOS, I'm sure the options are out there, and there probably are some instructions for that in the forums, which are large and active forums, so you can check those out. But this is the latest CachyOS and that login manager. Let me just show you that login manager once more, because we did change the image in there. Let's go ahead and log out. And then this will land us back to that login manager. And you can see that it has changed the image to the one that we have selected. So there is our look at CachyOS. Let me know your thoughts about all this in the comments down below.